All right, welcome to episode 64 of Adventures in Inbetweening. Today I'm looking at another episode that I animated in Planet Sheen. This is the first 3D show I ever animated on, and this is actually the first episode that I animated on after 15 years in 2D.
That's why I'm also going to say, you can trust me. I'm a doctor. Intern, try that.
Okay. Trust me, I'm a dock worker. Dog it!
That he is. The Emperor, by his own anti-fake doctoring law, will be forced to exile him to a remote island. Sheen is in violation of your anti-fake doctoring law. He has turned Bob into a monster. They're wreaking havoc.
What's this?
All right, Sheen is a goofball. He has decided in this episode that he is a doctor. And so he's got the doctor's lab coat on, which makes him a doctor. You can see the line of action here. He was a little bit hunched over, and then he's going to straighten up. Sheen has funny mouth shapes. His mouth is actually, it goes so far that it's almost cuts through the back of his head, the back of his neck there, if you look at him in profile. It's just the design of the character. It makes him that much sillier and funnier. Animation-wise, whenever we've got the arm going up, we want to be dragging that hand, make it more believable. Asymmetrical mouth, anytime you can get anything more interesting going on there. It's funny that Sheen has no eyebrows. He's only got a brow ridge, but it serves the same function. I'll say it all the time, lead with the elbow whenever you're doing any kind of arm action like that. Overshoot and settle. In this case, you could just have it easing in as well. Doppy was always fun to animate. Nesmith's the straight man. He doesn't have too much extreme stuff going on. He provides the contrast for somebody like Doppy. Always like Doppy's blinks, as I mentioned in the last one. It's just the pupils being squashed down. He doesn't actually have eyelids. Clear eye direction for Nesmith there. With Doppy, whenever he's moving, we could always squash him out as he goes down and then stretch him up. And it gives lots of contrast there. It makes him fun to animate. He's taking a beat there. Nesmith's going to be changing a pose while Doppy is slowing down, so we're handing off the ball onto where the audience should be focusing. Doppy has just this little tiny mouth by contrast. Nesmith has this large big mouth, and Sheen has the large mouth as well. Whenever you can create contrast, that's going to be part of making the story more engaging and interesting. Doppy's always too hard on himself. Nesmith's just kind of, yeah, I've seen this before. And even when there's nothing too dynamic going on, you still want to have solid, clear silhouettes. I'm happy with how this turned out with the subtle shape change on Nesmith's mouth here as he's moving up. There's some drag and some squash there. Yeah, that rig was pretty good for allowing that kind of thing. Pinter's in a flying cycle here. Dorkus always has strong silhouette potential. He's got those bony hands. He's got the robe. He's got the hood. He's got the ties there. And here we've got some asymmetrical wings on Pinter. All these bottles here made me think about just this entire show and how it came to be at Bardell. Just explain quickly. In March of 2010, Core Animation in Toronto was working on Planet Sheen, and they abruptly went bankrupt. So Bardell had the bandwidth and the capacity to take on this show, and they promptly got a hard drive with over 1 million files delivered to us, with each episode at different stages of production. So it was a very challenging, interesting show that way. My animation experience made it so that I could cope relatively easily with that, and I was able to just focus on the animation as I was learning the 3D. So it was good timing for me as well. Whenever you have Dorkus moving and you've got that sleeve trailing behind there, as long as the sleeve is rigged nicely, you've got lots of opportunity there. I like how Pinter's always cheerful. He's just, hey, no matter what's going on, yeah, sure, this is all fine. Dorkus here, avoiding twinning, having those arms come up as he's going to pound the table, boom. The interaction with the environment, anytime you can have the character interacting with the world around them, it's always going to be a good thing for making it feel more believable, making it feel less like it's just an animated cartoon with somebody pasted on a background. Two characters interacting is good. Interacting with props can sometimes even be better and more effective to just really give us a sense of depth, give us a sense of just believability in the world, and making it so that we can, it's not so much about realistic, it's about being believable. Here we've got this nice foreshortening going on. Dorkus's hand coming towards the screen. Pinter's keeping a safe distance, keeping his own silhouette. You can see that Dorkus has here less blur when the character is going slow and more blur when the character is going fast. Whenever we're animating in 3D, we don't see the blur. The blur is just something that's added later on, and we're just kind of thinking, well, this might be blurred out, but I'm still going to animate this as it is. You can see the secondary action on the sleeves there again, really playing with this this foreshortening with the arms in the front and arms in the back there, give us some nice perspective. Have the open hands go to closed hands for fists there. Very nice. Dorkus is always trying to manipulate everyone around him to come around to his point of view. I think he's at heart he's just misunderstood and lonely. Here making the hand interesting, keeping that pinky out, or sorry, the index finger out. We always had to be careful with Dorkus's huge mouth because it opens so much. It could easily crash into his robe, crash into his arm. Here I'm changing negative space, bringing the head up, opening those eyes wide. Tongue's always important anytime you've got any or ol sounds to really, again, make it more believable. Here, Dorkus going into a tight, compressed silhouette. He's going to open up with that arm out there. And this hand here is down on this side. And we got to keep that hand out there. He's still gesturing to the door. We want to do something different, though. So we're going to bring up this hand, put it on the hip. And it's similar to the last pose, but there's enough shape change. And you can see the difference there with the head angle as well, and the robe, the way the hood, the way that works out. Just always trying to create shape change, keep it interesting. Whenever a character is thinking to themselves, like Dorkus going and wreaking havoc, even though he's trying to talk to somebody else, he gets lost in his own thoughts for a moment. Looking down to the right, looking up to the left. This is what characters do when they go internal and they're thinking about only their own thoughts. And then of course he's, oh, no, I'm trying to convince somebody of something. He has to turn back there. So Bob here has lost his mind. Sheen is helping him find it. And he's controlling, so he's in Bob's brain. So of course Bob's doing some weird stuff. He's flinging Dorkus around. Now you can see there's less blur here, even though Dorkus is going just as fast. Now the reason for that is, the amount of blur doesn't depend on how fast the character is moving. It depends how fast the character is moving in relation to the camera. Character could be moving 1,000 miles an hour. If the camera is also moving 1,000 miles an hour, there's no blur. So it's all about the character moving faster than the camera is moving, and that's what's creating the blur here. So Dorkus, funny faces being pushed against the one column there. You can see that he's going from far to close to far again. And keeping it funny along the way. You know, make it so that he's got some engaging facial expression. You can play with his face. You can really distort his jaw. And so we got to take full advantage of that. It's a cartoony show. He's going to come across one more time, so let's go nuts with it. Have it different every time. Making it so that it's just entertaining. I mean, and fun to work on. This should be fun to work on. Animation is fun, and it should be fun. And even when you've got time constraints and you've got people telling you, no, do it this way, you still want to have fun with it. Saw the rope ties there and the jaw rolling down. Loyal Pinter, waiting for Dorkus. Now, Pinter here is just flapping, but he's going to react. And because he's so far away, we need a bigger reaction. If we do something like this far away, that makes total sense. If we do something like this close up, it doesn't make so much sense. So here we have to go really broad with Pinter because he's at such a distance. Dorkus comes flying through and they're gone. And because they pop off so quickly, we got to have something still happening there. So we got the doors offsetting each other. And last but not least, we have Sheen, the brain surgeon here. And he is operating apparently on Bob's brain with spoons. Wooden spoons is how he was driving Bob and controlling him. So those spoons are going to go off screen. We're going to have them both fling off there. Anytime you can get, more mileage from a prop, let's take advantage of that. Let's keep it on screen for longer. Now, Sheen is always slow to realize what's going on, but even, it's just, we still want to keep interesting hands. And then Sheen is realizing something. Tilts his head, goes into a smile. He's putting it all together. Now he's saying, I know what to do. I know how to fix this. His eyes are focused now. And take that hand up. And he's actually, we'll see if what he's able to do is actually going to help Bob or not. Sheen thinks he's got the answer, but you'd have to see the episode to see how it all worked out. Planet Sheen was a great show. Some great people working on that with me. And really glad to have that opportunity to have my first 3D show, my first 3D episode in the industry on this one. Thanks for checking it out. Take care.